We should have Ed on again.
We should have Ed on again. I didn't realize how long it had been since he'd last been on.
We should have an episode called Ed Dead Redemption. Hey, welcome to episode 116 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm here with Saveun.
Yep.
And Blake.
So,
How's it going, guys?
Good.
pretty good.
Good.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm all right. You guys been playing stuff?
Have you been playing stuff, Nick?
I've been
Oh,
playing.
whoa.
I've been playing a couple mobile games. We'll get to those, I'm sure. You know what? Saveun.
Yeah.
You said you've been playing something.
Yep.
I asked you yesterday what you've been playing.
Yep.
You refused to tell me.
Yeah, I thought I said I'd save it for the podcast.
All right, hit me.
It's a game that's available on mobile, so it might be right up your alley.
Holy hell.
It's an indie game. It's called Florence.
Florence.
Whoa, I've straight
And-
up never heard of
Yeah.
this.
It won a whole bunch of awards. I happened to log into Steam the other day,
Yeah.
and I saw this thing advertised to me, so I thought I'd
this it?
check it out. It's exactly it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Let's have a look.
It's got a
Oh,
it's got
okay.
a chick on the cover.
A chick.
That's just-
Some people refer to them as women.
Yep.
Who, though? Who really does?
It's got
Oh, it looks like a little indie,
it's very indie.
like a little storytelling game about having a relationship.
Yep. It's centered around a love story.
That's cute. I like the art style.
Yeah, so it's got a really good art style. It's very simple.
Yeah.
I really don't know what else to say about this game. I enjoyed it. It's like a 30-minute experience.
Whoa.
Oh,
Like nothing too
Annapurna,
crazy. Yeah,
they've
they
done-
published it.
Yeah, well, they did another just interesting storytelling game that Carl told me to try,
Mhm.
like 4 years ago that I never did.
Do you remember what it was?
Was it called Ashen? Because
Gorogoa.
okay,
Yeah.
haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Sounds
Um,
like a game Carl would know, though.
I would say this game has like a fantastic soundtrack. And when you download it, you actually get a link to the soundtrack. So
Oh,
it's,
nice.
it's just nice and ambient. There are some twists and turns with the story. It's cool. The coolest mechanic, I think, is the conversation, the dialogue mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
where all right, you meet a guy because you play as this girl, and the conversations come together as these puzzles. So you end up constructing these puzzles, and it's probably got like 10 pieces, and then you like assemble this puzzle together. It solidifies and then goes over as like a text blurb in this like comic strip,
Mhm.
and then he'll respond to it, and then you assemble your next dialogue thing, and then it
Yeah.
goes back up. And as your relationship grows, the conversations are easier, and like it
Oh,
reduces.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So the amount of pieces
Yeah.
are reduced to like 3.
Yeah.
Until like when you're on the same vibe, it's
Yeah.
just one thing, and then you're just dragging these big
That's
blocks.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
I thought it was really
That's
cool.
awesome, yeah.
All right, I might have to get this. It's also only $4.
Yeah, it's on mobile. It's on like everything, I think.
Yeah.
Heck, you know what? I'm gonna buy it literally right now. I'm buying it live, guys.
Whoa.
This is happening.
Do it.
This is a live purchase. If you're listening right now, you're hearing commerce.
By the way, it was developed by some Australian developers. Do
Whoa.
you remember Ken Wong? He did a talk at
Yes.
NZGDC
Yeah, yeah.
2 years ago. The guy with the pink hair.
Yeah,
pink in his hair.
he had a pink mohawk.
He worked on, was it Monument Valley?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
hmm
So he's a part of this game.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's very simple.
I have purchased it.
But yeah, headphones. Set aside 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's
Pretty
cool.
enjoyable.
Man, that's great. I want more games that are just like, here, you can do this in an hour.
It caters to like you can see it just within the mechanics. It's
Yeah.
so it caters to this huge audience.
Mm.
Like it's just so simple. Like brushing your teeth is a thing.
Yeah.
Like tapping on a thing is
Oh, wow.
another mechanic. It's I guess a lot of mini games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me ask you. This does not seem like the sort of game I would expect you to buy.
yeah, I figured.
Yeah, but hold on. Hold on there.
Okay.
Because I was thinking the exact same thing, but then I remembered you played Stranger Things. Was it Stranger Things? No, it was Life is Strange.
Yep.
Yeah, and you were really into that. So I was like, yeah, and that's all just dialogue and
Yep.
relationships and stuff. So
Yeah. It was curiosity. The awards and it's been received really well.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard anything about it. It looked appealing, so yeah, I picked it up.
Man, that's great.
So received well, won
Mm.
awards,
Mm.
looked appealing.
Mhm.
Why
I
did
know
it
where
take
you're gonna-
so long to play Zelda?
Yeah,
I've
that's true.
we've talked about this. We've talked about this.
Yeah, we have.
So no,
All right, well, I'll play that one.
not much dialogue going on in that.
There's a
Zelda,
heap of
though,
dialogue
right?
in that game.
Oh, you're not choosing stuff. You're not building relationships.
You know what? I just thought of something about Zelda, and I will give it credit where credit is due. I liked the moment that I really enjoyed from my very small session playing it
Uh-huh.
was the moment where you get the glider
Yeah.
and there was no dialogue, and you were just at a window and you're just looking out,
Yeah.
and
And it's just like beckoning you to use it.
well, it's pretty much just like do it. Like
Yeah,
I was waiting for a like prompt or something,
Right.
and then it never came, and I was like, this is genius.
Yeah.
right here. This moment.
They are more so than almost any game. Zelda is very good at intuitively giving you the choice to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah, but as a developer, you're like, yeah, and this is where you would prompt them to tell them to jump out the window.
Mhm.
But to make the call not to, I think I respect them a little more for that one moment.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are more of those.
There are.
They
But-
do. Yeah, Zelda has a real good way of like leading you just with interesting things.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
There, we're talking about Zelda.
yeah, we're
Next.
talking about
Perfect.
Zelda.
This is all you know. This is all I ever wanted.
You did it, Nick.
Did you have more you wanted to say about what was it called again?
Florence.
Florence. Yes.
Florence.
Not really. I just enjoyed it. It's a very simple game.
That's cool. So it just popped up on your Steam
Yeah.
sale thing. Or
I
something?
hadn't been on Steam for a while.
Yeah.
I've been jumping around into like Unreal and
Ah, yeah.
game developer stuff.
Do you find that when you don't go on Steam for a while and you load it up, you just have a million downloads, updates?
Not a
Oh my
million.
God.
I've only got a few games installed on my machine.
yeah.
You just gave me some anxiety because I know I haven't logged on Steam in months, and I know there's going to be so many updates.
Yeah, there'll be 50 games that are just updating. You're like, I haven't played this game in 3 years.
Yeah. I don't need another update for you know, a reckless disregard for gravity or whatever that game was called.
Man, that's cool. Are you looking for some other indie games similar or?
I'm always open to
Yeah.
if people can want to recommend me something that doesn't consume
Yeah,
50 hours.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's the
if you
key.
have
I
anything.
really like that it's so short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that speaks to me because I
when-
can actually like set aside an evening and
Yeah,
get out of
and
the
you
way.
can get a good experience out of it, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah, I get to like just lock myself away from the world and then just focus on this
Yeah.
game for 30 minutes and then go away and think about it.
See, I liked Firewatch for that, although that was like
That was about
4
4
hours or
yeah.
something. But still, it was like you could do that in an evening.
I still think about Firewatch, man.
Yeah, I still think about
That-
Firewatch.
that game was fantastic.
They've got, I think, is there a new game out?
Campo
in
Santo?
the
Yeah.
Valley of something.
They got bought by Valve.
Yep.
Yeah, which is pretty fucking cool for them.
Yeah. Which means the game won't come out.
It means it'll never come out.
Yeah, that means that there might be a sequel to Firewatch, but then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'll be in VR, and it'll be some weird VR demo, and it'll tease the actual sequel.
How important is it that this had a clearly defined, tight story?
How important was it?
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't
So, Mike, I guess
because I just realized it was so short after I finished it.
right.
And in while playing through it, I was just going through chapters, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, this can't last much longer." But you kind of think you know where the story's going to go, but it goes. Well, there are some
Spoilers.
twists.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna play it. I just bought it. The reason I asked this is I don't know if did you ever play Solitarica?
No.
That's quite a short turnaround on that game.
Mm.
But I'd be curious to see what you think of it
Okay.
because it's not a story driven game.
Yeah.
It is mechanics driven. But you can play through the entire campaign in like an hour or so.
Okay. Is there an overarching story? Is there something interesting that goes along? Okay. I don't seem to respond well to like heavy gameplay.
This is why I'm curious what you'd think of this because it is first of all free to download.
Mhm.
And the first class is free,
Mhm.
so there's not really like a barrier for entry.
If you're gonna recommend it, I'll probably pick it up. I know
I-
you have in the past.
I highly recommend Solitarica to anybody who loves like roguelites. Blake, did you ever play it?
No.
Oh my goodness, both of you need to play Solitarica. It's fantastic. But
I'm not big on mobile. I'm just not.
give it a shot.
I'm just not. I just don't have the time
Yeah,
anymore.
but
I don't even have a bus
You don't
travel
have the time.
anymore.
Hey Blake, how many hours of Civ have you played?
Yeah, I'm playing Civ. I got no time for Solitarica. I got another marathon game of Civ to restart.
To not finish?
Not finish.
Yeah.
To get 2 weeks through and say,
Oh.
I think I've had enough. I'm going to start again.
Infuriating.
Did you look into Life is Strange 2 at all?
Yeah, it's pinned on my watch list. I have to finish Control. I
Oh yeah.
have to finish Ashen. I've got this backlog, and
Oh, man,
I want to finish them.
I tried getting back into Ashen.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where the enemies.
Where are you?
I'm at that same point with the spear guys, and I'm like, I can't get past this because it's been so. I'm so useless at playing now after
Yep.
like months of not playing it. That this is the same problem I had with Dark Souls 3. Is that I stopped playing close to the end, and I was like, I'm gonna finish this game.
Yeah.
Completely couldn't play the game again.
I picked that up before Christmas, like
Yeah.
the holidays, and I was hoping to just clear it,
Yeah.
just so I could focus on like Control or whatever. And I got to the actual final boss,
Whoa.
and
yeah.
I beat the final boss,
Yeah.
and I was celebrating. I felt real good. I
Oh.
was like low on health and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And there was a second phase of the boss, and I just got wrecked.
Ah.
And then I tried like 2 more times, and
Yep.
yeah,
You
I
say no.
just no, I couldn't do it.
Is
They've
there?
got a DLC out now. I think.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'd be interested in
Yeah.
that too, but I just can't finish this first game.
I feel like for me to start playing again, I have to go back a couple of zones and just like physically
Retrain yourself.
physically
Yeah.
run through those zones
Yeah.
back to where I am.
Yeah.
'Cause starting from where I am, it's too hard.
I have a similar thing. Cuphead.
Yeah.
I got about halfway through Cuphead, maybe a little more than that, and then I put it down. And you know, there's a level of muscle memory
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
required for those sort of Twitch reaction games. That when you haven't played them for too long, it just becomes impossible to pick up and play again. So
Yeah.
you do need to basically start again or start
Yeah,
from like
it's-
much easier fights.
I need a
and build back
training
up.
zone to run through to.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've been playing some games. I've been playing a couple mobile games. I know you guys love hearing about mobile games. 2 of them that I want to talk about.
Wait, can I? Are any of these 2 games idle games?
No.
Oh,
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
all right.
Well done, Nick.
Hey, thanks. Of course, I have played a bunch of idle games in the time, but
Yeah.
neither of these ones I'm talking about are idle games. Okay, so one of them is called Dungeon Reels,
Okay.
which is a very simplistic roguelike. Basically, you choose a class. No, you don't even choose a class. You start a game. It rolls from a pool of possible skill sets and chooses 4. And then you do a sequence of fights and little encounters. At the end of which you pick. At the end of each fight, you get a reward, and it adds another skill to your reel. Basically, you've got a slot machine reel that determines what moves you use during fights. Kind of neat. It's got some cool little things to it. I quite like that. Every time you play it, it unlocks a harder version of this exact same sort of run. It's got some problems as well, though, where like there are these random events that are really poorly balanced. It'll be like you've got 3 choices. You've come up to a bunch of rats running down a tunnel. You can either fight the rats, or you can run away, or you can do like a third thing. And 2 of the options are much worse than the third thing. And once you know that, there's always a correct answer, and it doesn't really change at all. So there's like, it's quite simplistic, but there's still
There's no like, you choose a harder option, but you get a bigger reward thing. There's nothing.
Not really. I mean, that you can, if you choose to fight the rats, for example, you'll fight the rats and the thing that they were running from, and the thing that they're running from is usually very difficult, and the reward you get is the same as you'd get from any other fight.
Oh wow.
So it's just not really worthwhile.
Huh. So it's a game for cowards.
Yeah, it really is. It favors like taking the easy way out. And in fact, the way the real mechanics work, it favors you having fewer rewards. and pulling moves out of your deck basically. Or out of your reels. So if you want to win, the goal is to like skip rewards, go for things that remove your rewards, and go for like the most powerful moves that you can find, and only those.
Wow. Okay.
But there's something still quite sticky about it. Like I've now beaten it 30 times.
Whoa.
But it's got a real quick turnaround, so that's part of why I quite enjoy it.
It's free to play, right?
It is. You can pay to unlock all of the like skill sets. There's like 15 different skill sets. And I haven't paid anything, and I've unlocked 11 of them. I think you start with 4 unlocked though, so that's the other game I want to talk about is called Punch Punch Kick Punch.
Okay.
Or PPKP. It is a like 2-button brawler. And it's quite cool. It's got a nice
like dive kick.
Yeah, dude, I was just thinking dive kick as well.
Yeah, 2 button.
Two
right.
buttons.
Not quite the same, but it has it relies on a lot of the mobile tropes of like energy and you know a meta currency to help you unlock stuff quicker, and you can ignore most of that stuff and just play in chunks. The combat feels really good for a 2-button brawler, and the animations, like it's 8-bit, sort of like relying on retro nostalgia. It looks like a Super Nintendo game, but so 16-bit, I guess technically. The fighting animations look really fluid, and it has a nice motion to it.
Is it just a punch and a kick animation?
I mean, that's the thing. They do a lot of they make combos out of it.
If you press both buttons at the same time, does something
nothing happens. I think it chooses whatever your first input was. But it's quite fun. I would give that one a shot.
Does it do the auto walk towards enemy thing?
It does.
Okay.
It will just go to the next. It's a sequence of fights basically.
Yeah.
And you work out like what are these guys weak against? What are they strong against? And you use combos to like counter them, and you can kind of juggle them for extra coins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's quite cool. Yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. I know, exciting, right?
I do sort of like that mechanic where you just automatically run to the enemy for mobile games. Because I played a game called Non-Stop Night, and it's basically a dungeon crawler, and you're a knight, you know, going through this dungeon, but you just auto run to every like enemy, and then you've got like some abilities. So all you're doing is like hitting the abilities.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that because like, dude, never get any time I've downloaded a mobile game and there's like a D-pad and I've got to like move around like that, I'm like, forget this. This is not working.
I think I've talked in the past about there was a platformer that made navigation quite interesting in that like you would tap in a direction and it would automatically run in that direction, and you would just tap it again to jump.
Yep.
Which I thought was like a really clever solution to the frustration of like an on-screen D-pad or like a virtual joystick.
I remember in the early days when I was working at Rush Digital and we were making mobile games, there was talk about like these things that you could stick on to the you know, so you could have that feel. Those things were made, gel stick things, They never caught on.
Yeah, because that would mean that you'd have to carry these things around with you. And like the point of mobile gaming is there's like a game there whenever you want it.
And
no, terrible idea.
Did you have them?
No, we didn't have them. But we
as developers, you didn't even have them.
We didn't have them. We talked about them as like, maybe this is a solution for like all our problems.
Just package that with the can't do that.
Yeah. But I can't remember what we ended up. I think we ended up just tapping on the screen to move a character.
Yeah.
Because we had a game that was like sort of like PoE's camera angle, like sort of top down, and I think you just tapped to do stuff. Yeah. To move your character around and that was like that's the simplest solution that you could possibly ever have.
So I want to talk about I went down a bit of a rabbit hole this week.
God damn it.
Do it, man.
Yep.
I spent probably over the course of the week, I would say like 10 or 15 hours watching videos about Zelda and the Zelda universe. There are a bunch of YouTubers. I think that's the pronunciation, right? YouTubers.
Okay.
There are a bunch of YouTubers. Tubers. Oh my goodness.
Bunch of tubers.
There's a bunch of tubes.
Series of tubes.
It's called the internet, and on it,
it's not a big truck, Nick.
You can't. It gets clogged up, and you don't want to.
Dude, that is a reference to. How old is that?
That's a pretty old one. Anyway.
Write in if you remember that meme.
Yeah. if you email us the link to that meme, the original video, frenzyquest@gmail.com.
It's a series of tubes.
And make the subject Blake Y. Every time I say that, you can't see it, but Blake dies a little bit. I can see the life force being withdrawn from his body.
Yep.
So YouTube, bunch of people who just make videos about Zelda, which is impressive because there's a Zelda game like once every 4 years tops, really. And
people have made conspiracy theories on less.
That's true. That's true. So one of them was called Zeltic, and this guy basically does these real deep dives about weird stuff he finds in Zelda games, and like it does a lot of speculation about the lore. And he did some about like stuff in the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, which got me real excited. And it also, watching these videos made me really appreciate the world building that Zelda goes through.
Say it, man. Don't tease us.
Okay, well, okay. I'll give you. I'm trying to give you something. Okay, so Zelda 2 trailer.
Yeah,
you've seen it.
Yep.
I'll give you a quick description. It's like Link and Zelda walking through some underground area. They've got like a pack animal with them. They come across this like mummified figure with a hand grabbing its chest and stuff leaking out of it and stuff coming out of it, and then it comes alive, and then the castle lifts up, and then titles. Not a whole lot to go on. They go so deep. They're looking at the architecture of like certain elements of the trailer. Fun facts. So there are different cultures in Zelda. The Sheikah are like the super technologically advanced people who built the shrines that you play through. And then there's like a different tribe that did a lot of the stonework that aren't the Sheikah. I forgot the name of them. They're like Zoltek or something like that. I'm sure I'm getting emails telling me I'm dumb. That's fine and fair.
That's normal though.
Yeah. And my wife, if you can stop emailing the podcast, please. But like the architecture that's seen in the trailer is not the Sheikah. It's this other culture.
Okay.
Which implies like that it's this sort of older or.
Do you see their architecture around Breath of the Wild as well?
You do, and
like where? What is it?
The labyrinths.
Did you do any
of the three labyrinths?
Yeah.
Or in the like sort of rainforest jungly area down in the center and the. Like,
I've
you know the area I'm talking about.
I've been to some.
There's like the lightning dragon.
Yeah.
Well, there's all these like stone sculptures.
Yeah.
And like snakes and boars and that's all in the same style. There's like a spiral symbol.
Yeah.
That makes an appearance on their architecture. That also makes an appearance in the trailer in the background, and although it's kind of like fractured.
You know the lizard guys that are around?
Lizafos, yep.
Yeah. Do they have their own architecture? Because I always thought that and like some of the ruins that they live in was built by them.
Right. So they sort of do. They have. I mean, they're part of like the Moblin kind of crew. So they live in those giant stone skulls.
Yeah.
I guess that's the closest thing to their architecture they have, and they have like those big wooden platforms that they.
Because there's an area that's like a trench that's got heaps of like.
Oh, in the jungle area I'm talking about.
No, not in the jungle area. Maybe it is. It's in the middle of the map though, almost in the middle of the map, and it's got a huge gate at the end that you take a photo of. But there's heaps of there's water and there's heaps of lizard people. There's some waterfalls and there's heaps of like architecture that I thought looked like, I don't know, Aztec-ish or something weird like that.
We're probably talking about the same thing.
Yeah. And I was like, and there's heaps of lizard guys there, and I thought, they made this.
Interesting. Yeah. No.
Ah.
Turns out it's a different culture.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
There's so this deep dive it's fascinating because they go into like, okay, what's the power source of all of these machines? There's a blue energy when things are made by the Sheikah, and there's a red energy when they are corrupted by Ganon. And like, where do these things come from? What's powering them? And there's speculation that it's the corpse of Ganon that's powering all of this stuff. And
I thought that was kind of known, right?
The corpse of
well,
Ganon?
not specifically the corpse of Ganon, but like the corruption that was coming from Ganon is the thing that was powering stuff when it's red.
Yes, yeah. That is known. But the question is more
because that's in the like the title, like background stuff when they've got all the spider
they
robots that then get corrupt,
the guardians. Yeah. So, but ask yourself this: where does that come from?
Well, it always said it was Calamity Ganon.
Right. But so this is where we're starting to get into really interesting stuff, because so you fight Calamity Ganon at the end of the game, right? And he's this big glowing purple pink thing, like, and he's clearly made of this what they call malice, which is like the big evil substance that you also encounter throughout the land. And it's interesting because when you're fighting the divine beast blights, they're made of the same thing. So the implication is that the final boss that you fight at the end of Breath of the Wild is also just a creation of the malice. In the trailer, it shows Ganon with malice leaking out of his chest. That's probably the source of all of this. So did you really actually beat Calamity Ganon? Maybe not. You
just beat like some sort of avatar,
some manifestation of this malice. The videos do a lot of interesting deep dives on like locations that are callbacks to previous Zelda games. To the point where like the architecture is the same. There's an area called the Forgotten Temple, which in this like deep dive shows an overlay of a temple from, I think it's Zelda Skyward Sword, which was called the Sealed Temple, and like it uses the same sizes of bricks, except that where parts of it were broken and then fixed up with smaller bricks. And it's just fascinating. The level of world building in Breath of the Wild is amazing, and they don't ever go out of the way to like show it to you.
It's just there.
It's there, and if you really care, you can figure it out.
I always liked, near one of the first. Oh, when you go past the Dueling Peaks and you get to that sort of plateau where you first kind of tame some horses.
Yeah, and there's just hundreds.
Yeah, and there's all those like spider robots, and there's a wall
Mm-hmm.
that you can clearly tell that they were behind that wall fighting off these things.
Yeah. That's
I love that stuff because you're like you very clearly walking through an old battlefield, and it starts off with just a few of these spider robots around the place, but as you get closer to the wall, more and more show up.
Yeah.
More and more, you find more and more buried.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this was some serious like.
And you
shit.
find them like clung to the wall. And burned out and stuff.
There was also another place, somewhere else where like there's a tower at the top of this sort of large cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And when you climb up there, it's like a sort of a castle stuff, but it's got one of the towers up there that you activate.
Yep.
But when you look down, you realize that there's all these dead spider robots heading towards the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh my god, this is everywhere. It's just in the fabric of the environment. It's just all this storytelling because on the ground you don't really notice that.
Yeah.
But when you're above, you see that there were waves of these like spider guys coming.
Yeah, I love and you getting that new perspective.
Yeah.
When you're up there, it really paints this picture of like this was clearly a siege.
Yeah.
They lost. And that's sort of like the quite broad strokes. Environmental storytelling, but they've got these like really fine, detailed environmental storytelling things where the architecture is important, and like there's a rusty sword embedded in a wall that tells you a little story or whatever, and watching these videos, these guys spend, I mean, this is at this point his job, right? All he does is make Zelda videos, and
I think he's got your dream job, really. Like if you left Granny Gay Games, this is the only other thing you'd want to do, I think. So.
I would rather just watch them. I'm fine just watching them. but man, it's exciting because what they can do with Breath of the Wild 2 is very exciting.
Did any of these videos go into, because so Ganon is there, he's got like that hand thing that's like holding him down.
Yeah.
And there's all this like swirling blue
Yes.
like energy that has little symbols.
Yes.
Did any of those videos get into what those symbols say, because you can translate them?
You can't translate them.
I thought you can.
You kind of can.
I watched a video that translated them.
According
and I
to,
forgot what they said though.
well, there was apparently, at least in the video I saw, there's a lot of speculation that it said "Seal Ganon," and it's in the it's in the Gerudo text.
Yeah.
But the claim is allegedly false.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of the characters don't line up quite as well as people were claiming.
So they're fudging it a little bit.
Yeah.
It kind of fits.
Hey, I don't know. I'm not the Zelda scholar here.
That's the main thing of conspiracy theories, is like it kind of fits.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you squint, they didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, you can see that the shadow was wrong.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense.
I think George Bush was behind the moon landing. But yeah, no, they go into that. He also did a video of like the 5 things he wants to see from Breath of the Wild 2. And when you hear that sort of thing, I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
Because
what are you expecting them to say?
You expect them to be like, more weapons, cooler boss battle, or whatever, more dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
But what he goes into is more like, in Breath of the Wild, almost all of the dungeons are Sheikah creations. Like even the divine beasts are Sheikah creations. Even the Hyrule Castle, like there's elements of Sheikah creations in there. And they're all tests for the main character, for Link. And that's cool, and it's fantastic. Like Breath of the Wild's an amazing game, but they aren't adversarial in the same way that like going into an ancient ruin is,
Yeah.
and that's possessed by an evil, and he goes into like all this stuff about using Breath of the Wild is this big open world, and the original trailer showed that. Breath of the Wild 2's trailer was very claustrophobic and personal. Breath of the Wild's like villain was this like force of nature, and Breath of the Wild 2's trailer focuses on this one figure, and like the contrasting there, and it just makes me very excited to be like, oh, I want to like experience like the new story in that setting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's I spent a lot of hours this week watching Zelda videos.
Have they said anything else, Nintendo? Have they said
no,
anything?
They're notoriously tight-lipped outside of their like.
Do you reckon that they'll mention something at E3?
It seems like a lot of the developers have been pulling back from E3, right? Sony doesn't. Seem to
I guess during that
week.
Yeah,
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, because I mean, Nintendo weren't at E3, right? But they do the.
They got the direct.
Yeah, they do.
Wait. Yeah, Blake said do.
They do. Yeah, they do the Nintendo Direct. Yeah. I think I heard PlayStation was going to do a similar thing.
Yes, Sony's doing their own thing now.
Yeah.
So I hope they do something. It's tricky because when are they gonna? We don't know. We have no idea what kind of release date they're targeting yet. And it's very plausible that they'll skip a year.
I get the feeling you got Xbox and PlayStation pulling out pretty big guns this year, like consoles.
Yeah.
Release dates. I feel like they have to, like Nintendo.
They have to show more Zelda stuff.
Well, something huge like a Zelda thing. Most likely. If I was to put money on it.
Yeah.
Would you?
I feel like that would be. I reckon that would be their biggest thing, because like another Mario game is just like, well, it's another Mario game. We've got how many Mario games already? Like, but
in fairness, Mario's are really good.
Sure, and people, and it sells consoles and stuff. Yeah. But like, man, Breath of the Wild 2 is so anticipated.
Yeah.
So way more than any next Mario game.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Breath of the Wild set such a high bar for open world games that I am very excited to see how they try and better that.
I still love how we've talked about this, how like when it was first announced and they were like, see that mountain there, you could climb that mountain, and like people were like, dude, this is what like they said in Skyrim, like this, like welcome to the party, man. You're only 10 years late, and then you play that game and you're like, oh my god, you can climb every mountain,
everything. You could literally climb it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Saveun,
Yeah.
what would it take? I'm curious
wonder.
for you to buy a Switch and get Breath of the Wild 2.
I don't think I will. Purely based on horsepower.
What if? But there are so many horses in Breath of the Wild already, and some of them are very powerful.
I need more.
I'm sure they will.
If it came out on PC, maybe.
You could mod it.
It's not gonna come
You
out
could
on
mod it.
PC.
Get a high texture,
Yeah.
high resolution
need-
texture pack.
I need graphics. I can't. Yeah, the big thing that came out in the last week would be Wolcen, and
Yep.
I had a lot of people asking me if I'd check it out, if I would pick it up to see if I could learn anything, and I was pretty much saying, what more could I learn from playing a game like this for my position at Grinding Gear? There's because visually they went very cinematic with Wolcen.
Yep.
Well, CryEngine is very much involved there.
Yep.
As well.
They use a much farther camera,
Yep,
so much more screen space for stuff.
yep, for sure. They've got, in cinematics, their cameras will pull right into where the characters are. We definitely don't do that.
No.
No, because if we did, you'd see that we don't have backgrounds.
Yeah, no skies.
This guy,
Sky's just yeah.
very little draw distance.
But like, it needs to be visually interesting. In the respects of like, Red Dead and their fur, that technique was interesting because you actually saw that fur technique applied to everything. Like all things that needed fur had this one technique. They very much, as a studio, were like, this is how we just do fur now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool because it was a very simple technique, and we could actually take that and for our game, we used that fur technique.
We stole it.
And we didn't steal it. It's an old technique.
We stole it.
But it was one that came up and was used very effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda, yeah, graphically,
What can we take from Zelda?
it's tricky. I'm not sure.
Now, Breath of the Wild, I think, is a beautiful game, but technically, yeah, behind the curve, right? It was developed for the Wii U.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering. Yeah, it's an open world game too. So it employs techniques that we, LODs aren't a thing in our game.
So you're looking at this from the perspective of
Education, basically.
yeah. You wouldn't be buying it to enjoy the game. You'd
Yeah.
be buying it to learn art stuff.
Yeah.
But-
I get
But
that
you
from
don't think that there would be much to learn from a Zelda game.
No, not really. And mechanically, I think like I've seen it. I think I've played. Yeah, you're gonna poo-poo what I'm saying.
I wasn't.
You got off the plateau, right? And
Yeah.
You've basically experienced the whole game.
No, but the thing is, I didn't.
Blake, shut up.
I feel like I don't need to play that.
Yeah.
It didn't
You
change.
feel like you've won. I hear you.
No,
I'm so angry right now.
just the thing that I think Zelda is Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
I played it, and my opinions of that are still the same. It never really changed.
Mhm.
The only thing that changed is now I actually have references that I can go to when I try to describe a thing to
Sure.
Unic.
Yep.
And I think Breath of the Wild 2 would be something similar. It would be underpowered. It would be a gorgeous open world game like Breath of the Wild 2, very stylized. But the level of detail of the environment, I think, won't be setting any new records compared to what's currently out there.
From a technical standpoint, I think I agree. I'm curious if you think there's validity in looking at a game like Zelda for its capacity to tell a story with the art that it does have. Like, what can a little bit of wear and tear on a model do, and how they employ that and how they set something in an environment to convey something that you might not otherwise pick up.
And like what you guys were talking about before, like with the dioramas and the guardians on Battlefield.
Dude,
this is cool.
This is the stuff that I always love doing, environment storytelling stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I watch on Twitch how our players play, you can't even see it. It's just particles everywhere.
Yeah.
I think towns are a really good location for.
Oh yeah, actually towns are really good.
You should get on a town, man.
Yeah.
You should make a town.
We've got some towns coming up, so
yeah.
I think also boss rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are
boss rooms are actually quite cool to do because it's a set thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there even certain tiles, feature tiles. There's a lot you can do. Yes, most players will blast through it, but
I mean, it is fun when you see the players that don't.
Not just that, but I think we can. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, because okay, when Act 5 came out, like I loved watching people going through the reliquary.
Yeah,
because I'd made lots of like weird little things and little dioramas in the reliquary, and Ziggy D ran through and just zoomed into every like display case and was like, "Oh, it's this, oh, it's that." And I bloody love that.
That thing that you talk about, I don't need to go to a video game for it. If you go on to like model making forums, they exist there. People that sculpt will exhibit art telling a story just with like animals or characters.
Sure.
It's very minimal. But I can see things like that in other things, and I think I've like seen some really fantastic ones outside of video games.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of good examples.
Yeah.
What impressed me about the videos I was watching were that showcased stuff I hadn't realized. Stuff about using old assets in a new way. Using the Forgotten Temple as an example, using like what was functionally like they use very similar models and textures, and this to a game that came out like 10 years ago almost. And then they build on it to give it this impression of like this has been here for a really long time, and it was taken care of for a while, and then it was left to fall apart. Like there's in the original like sealed temple, there was this big tree of life or whatever, and in the Forgotten Temple, there's a tree in that location kind of bursting through the wall, showing that it's like maybe it's still there, maybe it's maybe it could be an unrelated tree, but there's sort of a hint at that.
Yeah.
They also something we don't do a lot of that I would love to do more with is using lighting to direct the eye to certain details.
Yeah. As an artist, I'd love to do that too, and this is something that Wolcen does really well, because their lighting is so striking. I think, but there's other things I think, and I'd like to talk about this at some point. But the way our game is made is, and the amount of content an artist has to produce in order to just satisfy the random level generation is huge,
Yes.
and it consumes so much time that the storytelling and the assets that we want to make that actually can tell some story is almost never, like, we don't have time for them.
Yeah.
It really is like that simple.
So
But Blake knows that the last couple of weeks have been pretty exciting for environments.
There's some really
there've
cool
been
stuff
some like
that's-
really cool tools in development that I can only like hint to
yeah.
in this podcast. But
I'm really looking forward to it.
that kind of stuff is really exciting, and
Yeah.
I'm
are we going to see this stuff in PoE 2, or are we going to see this stuff
I think
sooner?
it's going to affect all environmental production going forward.
Okay, so
So
we might
it's-
see some of this stuff before PoE 2 comes out.
You may not even realize that.
Yeah.
it's
This is
used.
stuff that
It's
you
very
won't
much
even
under the
know
hood.
is
Yeah,
there.
it's very much like internal tools kind of thing.
Yeah. But it just makes our job so much easier, and we can focus on things that we actually
Right.
really
So
enjoy focusing on.
we're finally implementing cut and paste.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
So that kind of stuff is like interesting to me. I think at like just asset creation at Grinding Gear is has been tricky, and I think in the last month, 2 months, we actually have a pretty cool solution to it.
Mm.
And yeah, going forward, we're going to leverage this technique, and possibly like do more storytelling within our game.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely, because all the environmental storytelling stuff I've managed to get in has always been the last sort of stretch of the development. Like,
it's essentially polished.
yeah, I mean, it's polished, you
Yeah.
know, but then if like something more important, if there's an area that's really not finished at all, then I've got to focus on that,
Right,
and
of
not
course.
on the polish of other areas.
Also, oftentimes, the level designers will use assets to do some storytelling without
Yeah.
a lot of artist intervention. They might get you guys to make an asset
Yeah.
or two or tweak stuff, but like oftentimes because you guys are working on new stuff, it's up to the level designers to piece something together.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Nintendo. I think they very much knew Breath of the Wild was gonna be successful.
Yeah, with the Zelda game.
I think they knew it was gonna be huge, and that it would have a sequel. And I feel like you talk about this civilization. Did it exist before Breath of the Wild? The other one?
Like was there signaling that existed? I don't think so.
In previous ones before Breath of the Wild?
I don't think
'Cause
so. But
I feel like
I don't know for sure.
This is very much a part of. I guess, shit. If I was to make it, it would be. I'd target a trilogy.
Yeah,
probably. This would be the middle act of said trilogy. Shit hits the fan, and it would go towards another sequel. This is how I'd plan my Zelda games if I had, that.
So my understanding for Breath of the Wild 2, they were working on DLC for Breath of the Wild, and this is what they say.
Interesting.
Anyway. It was like they had too many ideas, and so they decided to make a sequel instead.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that there wasn't necessarily strict planning for sequels, but as you mentioned, there's a lot of groundwork laid that seems to indicate that they had a sequel in mind.
Yeah.
So, for example, if the signaling about who the bosses were, the Calamity Ganon and like the Blight guys you fight inside of the Divine Beast, if all of the fact that these guys were made of the same material and weren't like more corporeal like Ganon himself or Ganondorf, if that was all intended and like signaled, then it really it leads to this idea that they probably had a second story they wanted to tell quite early on.
Yeah, that's an even more safer way to play it. That
yes,
you do it in such a way where you could make extra content to leverage this previous one that you just introduced.
Yeah,
but hey, congrats to Nintendo for actually putting it into a full-blown game because you can expand on that.
What's most impressive about it, having watched these videos, is how consistent it is. Like I work on narrative for a living game, and so I know how hard it is to keep all your ducks in a row. Like it's very easy to, and I've done it to goof and put something in there that clashes with existing lore, or sets a precedent that becomes troublesome later. And the fact that there's so much speculation and so much scrutiny over the world of Breath of the Wild that they haven't really butted up against things that, these two things don't fit together, or this means this is impossible or whatever. Like they haven't had that, and that's amazing to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's just because of the volume of content and the volume of like little details.
It is the mystery of the other civilization, right?
That's only one part of it. There's a lot going on. Like there's the mystery of like I mentioned it before. What powers all of this technology? Where did this technology come from?
Yeah.
What happened to the Sheikah? What happened to this other civilization? What happened to Ganon?
The Sheikah, it seems to be like they've got those like weird flame things that power some of their stuff. Do you remember that?
Oh, the forge.
Yeah,
the Blue Forge.
Yeah, there's two places where you have to like relight a forge, and then it just powers everything up. But it's like this flame is just randomly in a sort of weird shrine kind of thing off to the side. Why are you smiling so weird at me?
There's a video about this that I saw. So there's also books about like the world of Zelda. There's a book called Making a Hero, I think, which I kind of want to pick up.
Oh yeah,
or find a copy of or whatever. But they do some like deeper dives into the lore from the creator's standpoint. And in one of these books, it mentions that there are 3 sources of power, and they mention the Akala region. They mention the Hateno region, I think.
Yep.
And they mention underneath Hyrule Castle.
Oh, yep.
And now Akala region has one of the forges.
Yeah.
Hateno region has the other forge.
Yeah.
And then underneath Hyrule Castle,
yeah,
it presumably is Ganondorf. There's also lots of other things like, okay, so in the final boss room of Zelda, you fall into this big dome-shaped chamber, huge. It's like the biggest room in the game, and it's got like stars, like constellations laid out. It's got like the landscape of Hyrule sort of in silhouette, symbolized, and then it's got the Hyrulean language or Hylian language like on the floor that spells out like laboratory. So the room you're fighting in is the laboratory. What the heck is a laboratory? Why does it exist under the Hyrule Castle? My theory, my personal theory, and this is probably echoed in other places, is that is where the divine beasts were built.
Oh right, yeah, that makes sense.
But it's also the plausible scenario I heard in this video was like this is where they were building technology from the energy being drawn from Ganon. So there's just lots of interesting speculation and stuff that I'm sure we'll see more of in Breath of the Wild 2. My God, I want to play that game so bad.
Man,
I could honestly talk about this for days, but I'm not gonna. Instead, let's look at some questions. Unless you guys have stuff you want to say.
Man, real briefly, we were talking about like up-resing. What were we saying? Remastered games. I downloaded Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition.
Very cool. Yep.
That is a fantastic like remaster. It's like everything looks exactly the same, but so much better.
Is the game still
the game is essentially the same?
But okay. I loved Age of Empires.
Yeah.
When it came out.
Yeah.
I also loved like Pokemon Red when it came out.
Yeah.
And that's a hard game to go back and play, right?
I mean, like this game, like it seems like exactly how I remember it, and like I don't know what like modern conveniences they've added.
Well, like, can you click and drag to select a bunch of units?
Yeah.
Because I don't know that you could in the
Yeah, you could.
Could you? Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. It's been so long. I just assume that you could do that. There's a lot of things that I assume you can just do that you can do in this game because you can do in every strategy game that's come out since that. Maybe you couldn't do that in the original. I don't remember. I don't remember if there was even a limit on how many units you could select at one time because there doesn't seem to be in this. It seems to be almost like total annihilation. You just like double click on one unit and it selects, 20 every unit on screen of that type. Like I don't know if they had that back then. They might not actually. They may not have because that would have been a big deal for me to remember that. Like because Warcraft 3 that came out almost around the same time.
By the way, they also re-released that. And
I know. This is why I bought Age of Empires 2 because of hearing what the fuck they did with like Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
I was like, and hearing other people compare that remaster to this one.
Is there an Age of Mythology remaster?
No. Well, there might be, but I don't think so. Maybe if there is, it already needs a remaster because it'll be quite old.
Yeah. Did you ever play Age of Mythology?
No.
No, I never.
I remember
did.
the poster.
Okay.
I always wanted to.
That
but
game
I never
is fantastic.
Did. Yeah.
It's Age of Empires.
Yeah.
But with like mythical units as well. It's like, you've got it's the same idea of like you send your villagers out to a bush and gather food and build a farm and build houses and all this, like all the same mechanics. But then also you get like, okay, now I'm gonna make my war hall and build a minotaur.
Yeah.
And like.
Yeah, that seems real cool.
And I've got god powers. Like I'm gonna cause a storm.
Yeah.
Like it's super cool. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Now I want to play some strategy games.
Yep. Man, you're all over the place.
I am all over the place. Saveun,
Mm.
what's your favorite strategy game?
I for nostalgic reasons, Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer.
Uh,
Okay.
I like Tiberian Sun.
That was one that was like kind of criticized harshly, if I recall. I remember there was a lot of hype surrounding it because at that point, Command and Conquer was huge,
Mm-hmm.
and if I recall, Tiberian Sun was pushed back a bunch of times, and then it came out, and people were like, they pushed it back.
I thought Tiberian Sun was like the one.
I might be misremembering.
I don't know. I just remember Red Alert 2 went into like the Cold War era, and I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted to see futuristic stuff. And then Tiberian Sun came out, and I was like, oh yeah. So I was jazzed about it just aesthetically, and yeah.
You know what I have a lot of nostalgia for is Dune 2000.
Oh yeah.
Did you play Dune 2000?
Yeah.
I've seen that play. Wasn't it like the first 3D strategy game?
It wasn't 3D,
wasn't it?
No, Dune.
Okay.
Dune,
was it?
There's Dune 2.
Yeah.
Which was like one of the first like RTSs as we know it.
Yeah.
And then Dune 2000 was like a remake of Dune 2.
Oh, okay. There was a Dune game that was like
there was
very
one,
early, like
and it
3D.
was 3D.
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about. I forget the name of it. But man, those old school strategy games were so great.
I liked it because like every strategy game had different sort of like it had different standards. Like there was no like now if you make a strategy game, it's like you've got 15 years of like of strategy games to draw from, and like you know
you've learned
what
a lot
people
about
expect.
how things work.
Yeah, back then it was like, man, what's good? I don't know. That, who knows? Like Age of Empires 2 was the first game I played that had an idle villager button, and I was like, this is a revolution.
Yes.
And now that's just expected.
I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole looking into a game I loved playing in my teens with my best friend called Empire's Dawn of the Modern World.
Oh, wow.
Which was a 3D strategy game.
Yeah.
And it was very similar to Age of Empires in a lot of ways. But where it set itself apart was in how like terrain would affect the battlefield in interesting ways.
Yeah.
Like, for example, having the high ground had an organic, advantageous effect.
Having the high ground?
Yeah. Like, if you're in a lightsaber fight, you gotta... No,
number one rule.
But no, like, if you were on a hill,
Yeah.
your artillery would just naturally have more range.
Yeah.
Because gravity was important.
It's not just gravity. Did you ever check out Sun Tzu?
You ever read some Sun Tzu?
Because he like wrote a book on all this shit.
Yeah.
And it was like old, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is a computer game.
Yeah.
And like high ground in like a Warcraft game didn't matter.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
This is like
well, it's also tough because like a strategy game, you're often top down, so you can't really tell how much there is
I believe in like StarCraft. It meant the fog of war was.
I mean, in StarCraft there was cliffs.
Yeah,
like you could clearly tell. But I'm thinking like rolling plains, you can't tell where a hill kind of is.
Yeah, this was like actually hills, rolling plains, and it was all organically done. It was it would just use like I think the game physics to figure out whether or not things would hit. And all of the civilizations were drastically different from each other, which made that asymmetry kept games really interesting.
What was it called? Rise of Nations?
No. Empire's Dawn of the Modern World.
Oh, okay.
I had to look to see if people still played it on Steam, and it took me a while to find the Steam chart, and it was like, I think there was a day in the last few years where 2 people played.
Whoa.
And I was like, dang.
2 people. I should have gone in that day.
Damn it. Anyway, I'm going to read a question real quick, because we're pretty much out of time.
Yep.
This is from Twisted Trip. Nah, Ed's cool. Have him back.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
we hadn't had him. I'd forgotten. I felt like we used to have Ed on a lot, and then, we just hadn't had him on for ages. So, yeah, let's have him on more.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should have more people on.
Yeah, we should have more people on.
Yeah. Hey, you want to hear a guest? Email frenzyquestion@gmail.com. Tell us what guest you want to hear. Title should be Why Blake. At FrenzyCast, you can tweet at us. Just tweet Why Blake, then the guest you want. Blake's nodding.
Yep, I'm nodding.
Here's another question. This is more like a statement or a recommendation. This says, hey, Nick, I wanted to suggest that you try Pokemon Mystery Dungeon since you are interested in a Pokemon strategy game. It's not quite like Fire Emblem, but it's grid-based, and the enemies only move when you do. Also, I played Carl's board game, and it was great. I think he talked about it on an episode last year. Regards, Sam. Thanks, Sam. I might check that out. I've heard good things about the Mystery Dungeon franchise. There was a Pokemon ARPG that I think was sort of loosely based on Mystery Dungeon that I might try.
Cool.
Or I have tried, rather, and I want to try Mystery Dungeon. But then I have to
Is
buy a
Mystery
game.
Dungeon just
I don't know.
like you're going through a dungeon and it's like JRPG style? Like
I don't know.
that's what I thought it was. And
We'll find out.
You're picking a crew. You're building a crew. Pikachu's building his crew.
Yeah.
Getting a crew together.
Yeah, he's going to do a heist.
Gonna heist this dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually would be fantastic. A Pokemon heist game.
Did you ever? You must
That
have
would
seen
be
that Rick and Morty episode, right? Of the
Yeah,
heist?
yeah.
Dude, ever since then, that episode. I really loved that episode so much.
Huh.
Where every single person is like, "You son of a bitch,
I'm in." All right. Facebook.com/FrenzyCast. You can email. You can get in contact. Don't email. You can't email Facebook. Can you email Facebook?
You can message it.
Try-
Well, you
you can-
can email Facebook.
Yeah,
Try emailing
It's-
Facebook.
I think it's Zuckerberg at Hotmail.
Just email Zuck. frenzygamer.wordpress.com. You can leave comments there. We've got youtube.com/FrenzyCast where you can subscribe and listen to us. Hey, Blake, how come you don't put any more bites on there?
Dude, it's work. I got 2 podcasts I'm editing now.
Twitch.tv/FrenzyCast.
I do, however, have a list of highlights, and I'm like, maybe at the end of this year, I'm gonna make a highlight
Start
reel.
dumping
Yeah.
highlights. You can check us out on Spotify. Rate us. We love that when you tell your friends about us, and we love you. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye.
When people say back in the day, for its time, fucking
Yeah.
the shit. You know, Chevys were good back in the day.
You know
Model T Ford, man, that was like the
Yeah,
pinnacle
yeah.
back in the day.
I watched a video on.
This typewriter was good back in the day.
Yeah, typewriter.
I watched a video on the cell shading techniques used for Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Yep.
Really cool.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, there was cool stuff back in the day, but it
I mean,
was
that-
back in the day.
Wind Waker still looks good.
Yeah. I mean,
Genuinely,
it looks fine.
It looks clean. It's like it's got a really clear, distinct art style. Yeah, it's not technically cutting edge, but like it still holds up, and I find that really impressive.
that's all that matters, I think.
That it holds up.
That you find it
That you
impressive.
find it impressive. I think.
Whatever. It's about. We can get into this if you want, but
We're already getting into it.
We've already talked about this.
I'm curious. At what point? What's your cutoff for graphics?
Cut off.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, cut off?
Last 3 years, I think. If it's still
basically
if
what
it's still relevant,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I think Witcher still looks good, and that's when was that? 2016 or something?
Mm.
Yeah.
If it's still relevant,
Yeah.
I had the same things.
Yeah.
So, a game like Final Fantasy VII, the original,
Oh,
Yep.
beautiful.
no. Let's
That's for its time.
No.
Little
Even,
Lego men?
Even for its time, it didn't look good. The blocky hands.
Yeah, it was.
That was not good for. Yeah, I played it
In
during
combat,
its time.
the
In combat, oh, okay.
combat
In combat
looked great.
and the cutscenes, they were great.
Was
97.
97. Fucking hell.
I think there was like,
It was like sprites back then.
yeah, I
you know?
suppose. Okay. But I remember playing that and being like, yeah, look at these blocky. Like I could very clearly.
Mario 64 looked amazing for its time.
Was that 96?
I think it was 96. Like fully 3D, free roaming camera.
They still had sprites too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
used
did.
sprites for the trees.
Trees, yep.
They use sprite. Yeah.
And coins and
Picture frames.
hmm?
The picture frames.
mm-hmm. I loved the ripple effect when you jumped through those paintings.
Yep, that was good.
I really want
In
them.
for its time.
Yeah.
You know.
But
I
it
think
also still holds up. Like you look at it, and it's
Mario?
yeah. Look, it doesn't. It's not. It doesn't look beautiful, but it's. You look at some games, and it's like I genuinely can't tell what they were going for, because it's that old. But you can still navigate the world easily. You can still. It's all still well signaled.
I'd love
That's all
a
matters.
remaster
They've done a bunch.
of 64.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
Did one for the DS.
Oh, I mean for a real console.
Fuck off.
Like an Unreal.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah. I
remaster.
need to see it in the Unreal Engine.
Yeah. Have you seen Final Fantasy, the remake? 7 remake?
Yeah. I don't know what I
Doesn't
think
look
about
like Lego,
it.
though. So
Yeah, it's not true to the
The thing
thing.
the thing with that I think I don't like is they changed the combat so it's not the classic turn based.
Yeah.
It's like action stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't like this.
You think it should have just went beat
I think
for
if they're
beat,
gonna do a remake,
gameplay and everything?
yeah, if they're gonna do a remake, like make it look fancy, but like stick to the thing that people loved about it.
It's a remaster.
Do you
I
think
think
people loved the turn-based combat.
I did. It would be like a throwback to a simpler time.
When was the last time you played a turn-based combat RPG?
Well, I was just playing Pillars of Eternity. That's turn based.
No, that's not in the same way.
Pokemon? No. Oh yeah, Pokemon. What's it called? Octopath Traveler.
And how
Yeah.
was that?
It was fine.
Did you think this combat is boring?
I thought, I can't wait till more stuff is happening with this combat.
Yeah,
But
and
then all of those games start off like that. When you're dealing with like one big monster and like you got a team of people that you have to like, you have to like manage. You got to heal
Coordinate them.
some and like buff some and then damage that. Then it's more interesting. When it's just
yes,
one person,
it is more interesting.
When it's one person doing one basic attack to kill one monster, it's very boring.
I'm totally fine with them
Would you?
trying to modernize the combat.
Would you consider Civ a turn-based combat game?
I mean, Civ is turn-based.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There is combat.
it's a
got combat.
strategy.
Got combat,
It's a
yeah.
4X game, right? So it's more about strategy and tactics than like because you don't. And when it comes to the combat, you don't actually do anything other than tell what to fight what.
Mm.
You don't say use this attack.
Yeah. Shit, XCOMs are like that too, right?
Yeah.
XCOM I think has a little more depth. Like on any given unit's turn, you can tell it where to aim. Like some things have special moves.
Well, XCOM also has a lot more chance and
Yeah,
stats.
random.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
Man, I don't get into
I
any
still-
of those games.
I still think XCOM is like kind of like a turn-based thing. It's basically
I
is
I
turn-based.
consider
it
them.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Tactics. Yeah, I mean it is turn-based. So yeah.
I don't know why
Yeah.
you consider it that. It is that.
I consider this turn-based game. I don't like playing it in real time. I don't know about you.
What a
but I
brave
don't-
stance to take, Blake.
But all those games are turn-based.
Yeah. I, for one, chess as well. I don't like playing that. I, for
Real
one,
time?
believe that should be a turn-based game.
Tic tac toe. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that's turn based.
Damn.
Oh, boy. All right, should we get started?
Yeah. Someone said, sorry, that remake and remaster like two different things. Do you know that?
Remake and remaster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can see
I don't
that.
know
Yeah.
the true terminology. I usually say remaster
So
because it's like
remaster would be
upgrading
what
the
Final
graphics.
Fantasy is. It's not just upgrading the graphics.
Yeah.
It's also gameplay and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
No way. Would it be
No?
the other way around? Remake would be the one that changes the mechanics. Remaster
Well,
would be
remake-
just
Fuck, I don't.
Remake
I
sounds like it's reinterpreting everything, right?
don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
now.
that's
Yeah, see,
But
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
what I'm trying to
I
say
don't
is,
know.
like people interpret those two
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot. We'll get into this in a little bit, but I've been watching a lot of Zelda videos.
Oh,
He's.
have you played anything?
Yes, actually, I'll talk about some stuff. Don't worry.
It sounds like you've been going down like a conspiracy like hole, but just
Yeah.
Guys,
about
did you know that
Zelda.
Miyamoto.
There's no proof that Ganon died. Okay.
Yeah.
But the
Is it good? The Zelda conspiracy?
yeah, actually, really interesting. I mean, there are what I would describe as Zelda scholars.
Okay.
Oh
on
my
YouTube.
god, this is
It's
Oh,
it's-
are you going to talk about timeline and shit like this?
yeah.
Okay.
this
Yeah.
gets wacky.
Cool.
But they often talk about the different remastered versions and like the remasters are like higher res textures, improved models, that
Mhm.
sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Not really mechanical changes. So that's the one.
You ever heard of de-resed versions
No.
that take a game and then like
Make
take
it
a game that
worse.
was like that was like a 3D game and they'll make it like a
2D.
2D pixel.
I
Oh,
saw
kinda-
a Cyberpunk in like PlayStation 1 graphics,
Oh shit!
and that looked fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah, because PlayStation 1 had this like fuzzy thing
Yeah.
where like even if you had a static polygon, it would shift
yeah,
like
yeah,
randomly,
yeah,
and it kind of I don't know brought back the memories.
yeah.
I played.
That's funny because I've been wondering. You know how like pixel art has
Mm.
kind of had a resurgence, and people are like, "Oh, I remember pixel art. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make everything all stylized like pixel art."
Mm.
But we haven't gotten that for like PlayStation 1 early 3D yet.
Because
Yeah.
it's not appealing aesthetically.
Can I show you? I'm gonna load a thing up. You guys just talk amongst yourselves. But it is PlayStation 1, and it looks fucking great.
I reckon it's coming. I reckon this is going to be
coming back?
you're seeing the beginnings of this huge wave in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be making like
I mean, basically, what you're describing is Minecraft, right?
yeah, essentially. But even then, Minecraft looks pretty good. Yeah.
I'm not describing Minecraft.
When you're talking about like the lowest poly you can possible. kind of
One thing I did play that I guess kind of falls in that category is Wolfenstein 1D.
Oh yeah, 1D.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's you play it. It's just a line, and it's still. I think I'm not positive, but I think the way they did it was they basically just called out all the pixels except for a single
Jesus.
line.
Yep.
So you still sort of navigate by turning. And
Oh,
I think the gameplay still takes place in 3D, but it's pretty funny.
That's bizarre.
Jeez. Okay, that sounds pretty rough.
There was an official video game that came out for that shitty Tom Cruise Mummy movie, The Mummy, a few years ago.
Mm.
And it was an official game, but it was called the Mummy. I think it was called Demastered, and it was like it had absolutely nothing to do with the Mummy,
Right.
other than the name, and it was like this Contra style like side-scrolling like 2D action game, and it had like the fucking best soundtrack ever.
Interesting.
It had like a what is it, retro wave, like
Vaporwave.
a little bit, a little
or
bit
it's like
vaporwavey,
chiptunes.
and like chip tunes ish kind of soundtrack. That's so fucking good, and it's just like it had nothing to do with this Mummy movie, but for some reason it got a licensed like title.
Did you play the Stranger Things?
No. Was that the same kind of?